Howdy. So this is another video going over Chyrinka Pillar. I said I was going to do another one, and here we are already the next day. So this time we're using Chyrinka Pillar on Banshee. And now I've got a friend here with me on Nova, so they can use Molecular Prime for some even bigger damage. So let's go over the mods and stuff. So the last video with it, I was using Breach Surge so that I could send all of the little bolts out on and just hit everything and keep proccing off of the damage attacks from Chyrinka Pillar's pulses. This time, we're going all in on Chyrinka Pillar's damage because the sonar, if it hits like the center body mass on an enemy, the weak point does, the Chyrinka Pillar's wave, it's a pulse attack, is going to be able to benefit from the bonus damage. So we get right now with 199 strength is a 9.95 damage multiplier. And then we have Molt augmented, so if that builds up, we get even more damage. Strength is going to massively affect your damage because Chyrinka Pillar's base damage will go up and Sonar's damage multiplier will go up. Also, we have augments on, so we have Sonic Fracture, that way we can full strip armor with our 1, giving us even more damage. And Resonance, so every time an enemy dies from an attack hitting their weak spot, it sends out another sonar. Now something to note is that sonar has no, or you can like cast it over and over. You don't have to only do it once. If you cast sonar and cast it again, it will spawn another weak point on the enemy. And what's funny about that is the weak point can either be in a different spot or it can spawn a weak point on an already existing weak point, making it so there's 2 weak points that you will benefit from the bonus damage on both of them, giving you massive, massive damage. It's just, it can cost a lot of energy and take a lot of time to spam casting it, but we can just get a ton of weak points everywhere by having Resonance, the augment, if we're getting kills. Stretch for extra range, Transient for strength, Umbral Intensify for strength, obviously Flow and continuity, then Brief Respite and Catalyzing Shield so we can shield gate, that way we don't die. Energize is here so we don't run out of energy. It's fairly important in this build, but if you have another source of energy, you can get away without it. Then for weapons, I'm just using Proboscis for the sole purpose of pulling enemies in. Applying Viral is also nice because it makes the enemies take more damage, but it's mostly to pull enemies in. Epitaph also would just be for if you want to slow the enemies down more with its fourth proc cold or proccing Viral on this as well. The melee is irrelevant. And then I'm using Madrai just for casting speed. I have no Archon shards on. If I were to use Archon shards, it would just be for strength or casting speed, especially casting speed. But you don't need any here. Then for pets, I would recommend either Nautilus for grouping, or what I personally would use over that is Panzer Vulpaphyla to spread even more viral, just to make sure you get the viral procs so you do more damage. So first I'm going to show it without my friend casting Molecular Prime, and you'll be able to see that it's pretty damn effective. So we spawn the enemies in. You run up here. First we're going to group them in like this. Then we cast this. And now we just start spamming this. Now, there's a fair bit of RNG involved in whether or not this can nuke stuff. Because, I mean, you can see that was fairly effective, though we did get some armor strip from our Panzer Vulpaphyla. The RNG is going to be if it spawns the weak points on the enemy's center mass. Otherwise, it's not going to be able to give you the bonus damage. Wait, I did not mean to take Panzer Vulpaphyla off. I meant to take a mod off. If you're spamming stuff on enemies, Vicious Bond will actually be able to strip the armor when it tags them if you're spamming abilities, but we're not trying to show that off now. So I'm going to take that back off. My Chyrinka pillars are gone. Spawn the enemies back in. I forgot to grab energy. So we pick up the energy. Then we cast this. It's going to armor strip them all. Chyrinka pillars in the center. Then we are, right off the bat, you can see that one enemy got killed in like 1 or 2 pulses. But see, this is They're not even at like max viral stacks yet. They got decimated as soon as the weak points was on them. That was like one weak point on center mass. It killed everything. Now, unfortunately, well, oh wait, actually I can force them over here, can't I? Because there's a max of 2 pillars. There we go. Alright, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna want to suck them in with something a little more consistent to pull them all in. So we go Vazarin. Another important thing to note is that Chyrinka Pillar cannot damage ragdolled enemies. So as you can see, as they're being actively ragdolled, I cannot get damage numbers on these guys from the Chyrinka Pillar, which is unfortunate. But it won't affect gameplay that often, because I actually don't use Vazarin with this in mission. I just stick with Proboscis or Nautilus. So we suck all these guys in. Then, hang on, I forgot to grab energy again. Now that they're all together, spam the crap out of this so that there's weak points. Again. Casting speed would make a huge difference. Alright, now make sure they're sucked in again. Armor stripped. Now, my friend here is going to cast Molecular Prime.
Yes, master.
Go ahead. It's going to tag all these guys. Oh wow, they actually already started dying. Just one Chyrinka Pillar is gonna decimate them pretty hard. There's only one left, and he's only alive because I didn't armor strip yet. That was still, I didn't even do as many weak points as I could, and I didn't even put 2 Chyrinka Pillars down, and they weren't all at, not all of them were at max viral stacks yet. So this is a much more effective way of killing stuff than the Wisp build. However, the Wisp build is going to have much more AoE. This is a lot more dependent on grouping enemies. But when they're all grouped up, you start getting those weak points everywhere, and you get the viral and stuff, and then if you have that's the reason I wanted my friend here was with Molecular Prime as a teammate, or sorry, Nova as a teammate casting Molecular Prime, they take double damage. It affects the damage. So I'll show it, hang on. So if we put down enemies, we're going to have to get rid of Panzer Vulpaphyla real quick. That way we don't accidentally apply viral. And I cast this down here. It's going to make them take 59 radiation damage. So now cast Molecular Prime again.
Yes, Daddy.
Now they're taking 118. Molecular Prime makes enemies take double damage. It's a debuff on the enemy. It affects abilities and weapons. Anything that hits them will deal double damage and is unaffected by strength. It also has other effects like slowing or speeding them up, but that's not what we want. We just want them to take more damage. On top of that, when they die, they explode and do a fair bit of damage. So this build is already effective enough as is with Banshee, but if you have a Nova, Novas are already casting Molecular Prime all the time, so just having a Nova on the team, and the enemies are pretty much always going to be affected. That way you are going to deal double damage and have a ton of explosions everywhere. So if you want to run this with a teammate that's Nova, it is so satisfying and so very effective. So that's the gist of this build. If you want to, oh yeah, actually you already saw the mods of my Proboscis. It's not important. It's literally just for sucking in viral. This is another funny chonk build, chonky pillar build. If you liked it, then like the video. If you didn't, then dislike the video so we know that it was doo-doo water. And if you want to see more random content, then subscribe and leave a smirk emoji for the kinky friend I have here. Adios.